I'm excited to introduce Ben Kamali and Leah Hopkins, and they are here to talk about how they lead courageously on the University of Olivet campus and in other areas of their life. They're going to share some firsthand accounts of how they navigate the pressures of leadership, how they make tough decisions, and how they maintain their mental toughness on and off the field. Ben and Leah, can you tell a little bit about yourselves? And then we'll get started with our questions.
Hi, my name's Leah. I am the captain of the women's tennis team here at U Olivet, and I am a senior graduating this December with studying graphic design.
Hi, my name is Ben Kamali. I am a senior captain on the wrestling team, graduating in December as well. Major is in sociology.
So let's start with a pretty basic question. And so Leah, I'll ask you, how would you define courageous leadership?
I would define courageous leadership as having the ability to step up and step in and lead, not only if you're asked to, but also when you're not asked to, being willing to go above and beyond for the best interest of everyone involved, and just being able to take charge and do what it takes.
Awesome, that's pretty comprehensive. So I mentioned mental toughness just a minute ago. And so I expect as athletes, you've heard that for a long time. How does mental toughness play a role in your leadership on and off the field?
For me, I would say it plays a big role on the mat. For me, I'm a wrestler, so on the mat, of course, because you're going through tough practices and having to push through the grind of a few months of a season sport, and especially off the mat though, because my habits will translate on and off the mat. So I have to make sure that I'm courageously staying on top of my mental toughness when I'm off the mat, so that it'll translate in a positive way on the mat. Because if I get lazy off, then it can translate to practice, and then it'll translate to competition. And not only is that affecting me, but it's affecting my team and the people that are around me.
Yeah, I would agree that kind of behaviors and mannerisms of like leadership and self-discipline, when you have those things on the court or on the mat, those things are going to translate to when you're off the mat or off the court, and when you're performing as a student too, because we're students first. We're students before we're athletes. So I think that those abilities and the way that we carry ourselves, it's very interchangeable with those two. Let's see.
So sometimes you probably experience, maybe you don't experience, but what if you do experience setbacks or challenges? How do you deal with those? Whether it's on the mat, on the court, out in the world. I know that Leah, you had a fantastic internship this past summer. Did you ever have challenges or setbacks there? And how'd you deal with them? What were your strategies?
I would say setbacks, it's really reflecting on why you're doing it, and your purpose. Because that's when you're getting in a setback, you're getting challenged, right? But it can be in a negative or in a positive way. So reflecting on why you're doing it and your values and like the love of the sport, and just the love of being a student athlete. And like Leah said, it's both sides, student and athlete. So remembering like your why and then your end goal, and realizing that it's a process. And the big thing is that you're not alone. You have a team for a reason, and that team, it's there for you. Those are your brothers and your sisters through it all. So that helped me a lot through my setbacks, not trying to isolate myself, but realizing that I got a family.
Yeah, I would say even as a leader, I think sometimes when I've pictured a leader, I picture them alone. I picture them kind of in a separate space. And I think it's important to remember, I think with my experience here at Olivet, we're all in this together. It's very apparent to me whether I'm leading a student group or I'm leading my athletic team, like we're all in it equally. We're all supporting each other and uplifting each other. So just remembering to lean on those people and to depend on those people and trust them, that's been really helpful.
Trust, that's a really important word. How does trust fuel your leadership?
Yeah, I think that for me and my leadership style, I think that the single most important thing that I have with my girls, the girls that I lead, is that we all have to trust each other above anything else, before anything else. I need them to know that I trust them to conduct themselves and to take care of themselves and to take care of business. And, you know, I have to trust that they're gonna come to me if they have issues or they have questions or they have concerns. You know, we just have to know that we're all in this together. And I just want to be as physically present for them as possible while still, you know, these are young adults. They're here for a reason. They have a lot of skill sets and they're very talented. But so I'm just kind of like, I want to be more of like a resource that's available, but I want all of us to be able to trust that we can, you know, we're able to do it.
Thoughts on trust?
Yeah, I would say, I would agree 100%, Leah, like trust is the base for any relationship building, and to be a leader, I feel like an effective leader, trust is the first step. And that trust isn't just as a fellow athlete, but trust as a human being. Like I trust you and I want you to know that you can trust me to pick you up when you fall, to be there when you're doing great. And once you have that, then you're able to grow so much. You know, when that trust isn't there, then there's a little wall that you're fighting. And just to effectively grow as human beings around each other, I feel like we need that trust, you know, to be recognized as another human being and like, okay, I trust that my opinion is going to matter around this person and that I can feel valued when I'm around them. And, you know, that's what everyone wants to feel like.
Definitely. So there may have been times in your life when you had to step up to be a leader and maybe it wasn't a popular or easy choice to step up to be a leader. Has that ever happened? And kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, I would say, you know, when I first came to Olivet, I transferred in from a different school, but so there wasn't, I wasn't known as well by any of the guys on the team, so it could have taken me a while to be able to step up and try to be a leader, even though that I'm older, but I kind of wanted to step out of my comfort zone and attempt to be a leader right away. And that meant just like leading by example. And during workouts, if I see something, or if I see a guy who I know his potential is up here, and maybe he's right there during that end of the workout, maybe calling him out in a positive way, saying, hey, I know you got more. And just repetitive actions like that show that I care about the team getting better, and that involves every individual that's a part of the process. And just it was tough at first because I had to kind of earn trust on every person on the team, and that's a lot, you know, and that can take a lot of energy, but it was definitely worth it once you do it.
And that first couple times that you called people out when you were just building that trust, that had to be probably held your breath hoping it was gonna go right.
You never know how someone's gonna react, you know, they can take it in a positive way in the moment, or they're tired and they went through a brutal workout, so sometimes the emotion gets to them and they don't wanna hear it. So just hoping that the reason that you're saying it or doing it is in a positive way.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. Any thoughts on that, Leah? Okay. So you both mentioned student, athlete, student first, that's why you're here. How do you balance the demands of being a student and being an athlete and being a leader in areas of your life? What strategies do you use to maintain your balance?
I think to very literally answer that question, I love calendars. and I love lists. It's every week with practices, you know, times are always changing, and I also have a full course load, and I also have 3 jobs. So in order to balance everything that's going on all at once, I need, you know, to use technology to my advantage to just help me manage everything that's happening. And also, you know, if I have conflicts, you know, it's a way for me to be able to let my coach know, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it to this practice because I have this personal thing, or I have this work thing, or calling work and being like, hey, I have this other thing, you know, just being able to stay on top of it with managing and double checking my schedule has been kind of the easiest way for me to stay balanced with my schedule.
So you mentioned touching base with the people that you're accountable to, communication. What are some of your communication strategies that you found that have been pretty helpful or successful?
Well, the most successful for everyone is being ahead of time, you know, being able to let people know in advance as possible via text, you know, maybe sending a reminder, an email, and just being like, just making sure that even when things change or when you need to adapt, that you're still trying to look out for everyone's best interest, and you still want everyone to succeed and everyone to win. We just need to all be able to be a little more flexible. So, yeah.
That makes sense. Ben, talk about being a student athlete and how to balance all that. What strategies do you use?
Yeah, honestly, for me in the beginning, it was kind of tough. Finding a balance at first, because I thought that I had to figure it out on my own. You know, they give you, like, you have your advisor, your coaches, and even your professors. But you kind of think, okay, I'm in college and I've got this responsibility, and how can I figure out how to manage it? But when you try to do it on your own and really figure it out by yourself, when it's in a new setting that you don't really know how the structure should be, or like a template, it's tough. So what helped me was relying on communicating with my coaches a lot, communicating with my professors, and that involved just like instant communication. For me, it was like, if I had a problem or I even thought there was something was gonna come up, I would text my coach, I would email my professor, just to let them know that, hey, this could happen. And I don't wanna miss anything, or I don't want this to affect how my progress is seen. And also other things are just maybe having accountability partners, which can include relying on others, you know? Like, I would always help other people, I felt like, and for a second, I need to let other people help me too. So that may involve like having someone call me once or twice a week, and just a buddy saying, hey, how are you doing? You know, keeping me accountable. And then, like Leah said, a calendar, planner, that helped a lot. Just writing your structure down, because it's tough when you're going day by day and you're going through workouts and then classes, and you're trying to eat food and find time to relax.
Right.
You know, so finding that structure and just writing it out helped a lot. So then I could just check it off. You know, it's like, all right, I got that done, got this done. All right, now I have time to relax. So that helped a lot for sure.
So you brought up something that's really important. You really micromanage your life. You have to compartmentalize all those things,
Yeah.
including food and rest and relaxation and diffusing and all those kinds of things. So that if the call comes for you to have to be courageous and step out and do something, you're ready.
Yeah.
Because you have a plan for everything else. You don't have to think about it. You can kind of autopilot a lot of that stuff. So great strategies. Thanks, you guys. Those are fantastic. So we know that y'all are gonna be heading out into the world pretty soon, and we're gonna need some more student athlete leaders to jump into your roles. What would you say to a student who's like, oh, I just don't know about being a leader? What would you say to someone who's hesitant to step into a leadership role?
I would say, okay, first of all, I would say we're all students. We're all learning here. So if there is an opportunity to learn things, to mess up, to practice, to experiment, it is while you are a student. I am extremely introverted. It's painful, really. It's hard for me to be here right now, but I would just say that, I'm saying that because, courageous leadership requires getting outside of your comfort zone, and that is okay. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to also let other people know that you're uncomfortable. You know, I came onto this campus 2 years ago and suddenly I was kind of in the running to be a captain almost immediately of getting here, and it was just kind of trying to figure out how I was going, how I wanted to lead my team. And did you ask for like advice of like?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say some advice would be look towards leaders that you enjoy following. Look towards people who are inspiring you. See what you like about what they do, see what you don't like about what they do. Ask professionals in the field, ask your coaches, just pay attention to what's going on around you, learn from your mistakes, adapt, see what's most helpful for you, but also what's most helpful in the best interest of the entire group. And just continue to look out for them and be willing to adapt and change with the times and trust them. Even when it's hard and it's new and it's scary, you're forced into this needing to trust each other. So just kind of leaning into that and you know, trusting other leaders to help you and support you as you learn and adapt through that process.
It's an excellent point that there are a lot of supportive leaders here on campus that will help people learn the ropes. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like what Leah said about it's okay to be uncomfortable. You know, it's being a courageous leader is about getting out of your comfort zone. And also just knowing like anybody can be a courageous leader, you know, doesn't matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you can come in right away and be a courageous leader. It's just about whether you want to or not, you know, and that commitment to the progress and the process of wanting to grow as a leader. And one thing that I would also say is just there's different ways to be a leader. You know, if you could be a vocal leader, and words can be so effective positively and negatively. So that's a great way to impact people and help grow as a leader. And then there's people who are more leaders by action, you know, the ones who focus on getting the work done and doing it in a way that inspires others to work more. And there's countless others, you know, but just remembering that trust and love in a positive way is what is going to help human beings grow. And that's in a group setting, one-to-one, just when you're trying to help someone else grow, that should be at the top. You know, as a student, as an athlete, as a human being. And yeah, just being a courageous leader is uncomfortable at first, but it's gonna help you so much. And it'll help those around you so much if you do it positively, you know. Yeah.
Excellent point. So Ben, you kind of answered the next question,
Oops.
which is totally okay because it fits perfectly. The question is, how do you use how do you inspire and motivate people around you? And trust and love is kind of, those are anchors really. And so I want to kind of shift the question a little bit to the whole idea of building relationships, because as a leader, it's, as Leah said, and you both attested to, you're not someone standing on an island getting a bunch of stuff done. You have to build relationships with people, and you talked about trust. What are some of the things that you do, like the specific things to get to know people, to get them inspired to join up with whatever that leading opportunity is? How do you build those relationships? How do you build your squad?
I would say attempting to build relationships at any opportunity given. And like what that means is first recognizing the individual or the teammate, you know, that's in front of me as the human being that they are, and then trying to grow that with small actions. Like if I see you at practice, I'm gonna acknowledge you. And then if I see you outside of class or if I'm walking around campus, I'm gonna acknowledge you at that time too. So that you know I'm not just gonna see you at practice. I see you all the time as a human being and who you are. And then hopefully by doing that, they'll see, okay, this is someone who cares about me, who cares about the team and us getting better. And then when an opportunity arises to step up as a leader, that allows them to feel more comfortable, like, okay, I can trust this guy, he's gonna have my back if I can step up. And that's just, that goes beyond so many levels, because then when you're on the court or you're on the mat and you're in a struggle in the middle of a game or a match and you need to look to your teammate and get that little trust and that like sense of confirmation and like I can do this, that translates right there, and that's so powerful in the moment. So that trust and just small actions over time, I think, speak for everything else.
That's super powerful. That's. Yeah. If you could give your colleagues at the University of Olivet one piece of advice about preparing to go out into the world and lead, what would that piece of advice be?
Trust yourself. I think that a lot of students here, sometimes we just have a little bit of like a gut check, or like we just have a little bit of insecurity of like, am I making the right decision? Am I making the right call? And I feel like before other people are gonna be able to trust you, you just have to have that some sort of confidence in yourself. That's just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And if circumstances change and that no longer is what I'm supposed to do, then I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna adapt and I'm gonna find a different improved or modified purpose. It's always growth. And especially, being young, it might not feel at the beginning like you're there, with whatever leadership goals that you have, but that it's an ongoing learning process and you're just gonna keep getting better. So just having that faith in yourself that, you're doing it. And you're gonna keep doing it and it's gonna work and it's not gonna work. And then you're just gonna, it's all problem solving. So just as long as you're actively trying to continue to improve and be your best and just, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah, 100%. I would say trusting your gut is a big thing, and trusting yourself. Just like Leah said, before you want anyone to bet on you, you gotta be able to bet on yourself, pretty much. And also just being aware that, you know your why, and why you're doing it, because before you wanna show other people who you are and who they can be, you gotta know why you're doing what you wanna be. Why you're doing the things to become this person and grow. So knowing your purpose and keeping that at the core and just doing it with passion. Passion is gonna drive you so many places, and having a good heart with that. And that's just a positive and a positive, and just keeping that at the core and not losing sight on your mental health, you as a person, and by doing that, you'll automatically help people around you, and it's just like a domino effect, and it's contagious. Because if you take care of yourself and you're doing great, that's gonna rub off on someone else, and your positive attitude will affect other people. And that environment that you surround yourself in becomes so great and so fruitful in terms of your growing.
Wow, that's really it's powerful to know that you all are gonna take those ideas out into the world and be more and do good beyond the athletics and the academics that you did here, and you're gonna create change out in the world, and you're gonna impact people's lives, and you're gonna impact organizations and communities because you're so passionate about leading and bringing people together to be more and do good. So thank you for everything that you've done here at the University of Olivet to inspire other people, to take it to the next level, to do their best, to shine. And thank you for shining. It's been so great to have this conversation with you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Wow, this has been quite a day. The first ever Courageous Leadership Colloquium here at the University of Olivet. We brought together over 100 participants who want to grow their courageous leadership. We've had over a dozen speakers, leadership thought leaders who've talked about how they navigate the world using their creative leadership. We hope that you've been inspired to continue to build your intellectual courage, your follower courage, your moral courage, your creative courage, and your biological courage. We want you to be strong, we want you to be tough, and we want you to make an impact out in the world, and that takes courage. We do hope that you'll take advantage of the resources that we have here at the University of Olivet to grow as a courageous leader. Remember that we have our LDR 900 leadership learning community. You can access that at any time to learn from more leadership thought leaders. All of our videos will be posted there. Also, our discussion forums that we have for every one of our panels. The folks that we talked to tonight, Leah and Ben, if you have questions for them, if they maybe you want to connect with them and talk more, shoot a note into the discussion board for the student athlete leaders, and I will make sure that they get that message and you can continue the conversation. Also, remember that we've got our Master of Arts in Leadership program if you want to take your leadership learning to the next level, as well as graduate leadership programs, graduate leadership certificate programs, and then our President's Leadership Institute and our Women's Leadership Institute are also undergraduate opportunities for everyone to grow as leaders. Thank you to everyone who has invested time in putting together the Courageous Leadership Colloquium. It's been quite an adventure to create something new, but that's what courageous leaders do. Particularly, I want to thank our ITS, our Information Technology Services Department, for all of the puzzle building, problem solving that went into creating a virtual and live program for our entire ecosystem. We hope to see you again next year. We're going to be doing this every September. And between now and then, if you have an idea for a courageous leadership topic that you'd like to share, please reach out. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.